Hey, Shalom Akim, Yahweh Bashim, Shab, Bashim, Kakadash, Barakatam. All right. And double honors and salutations to the elders and apostle group, Mr. Well, and I can try to focus on the earth preaching the gospel of Mashiach Yahushai in diligence of mind and sincerity and truth. Yeah. So you see the title on the screen? Living America's Broken Dream on China. And that's the what the orange man what's his tactics, the Chinese this, the China this, the China's this. I'm like, well. It's all, a show. That's exactly what you have to understand. That's exactly what the elite have already planned to take place. All right, they had to make sure that whatever was going on in America had to be shifted to China, and that's how the game is played. All right, they have to adjust their so-called interests, to make sure that America doesn't go beyond its limits, because they know that America is one of the roadblocks, to having a new world order, and they have to make sure that they curtail that power, and they did that through trade and commerce, and that's how the trick. That's how the elites play games. All right. So I'm going to read a quick scripture from the book of Sirach, chapter 12. I'm going to read verses 10 and 11. It says, "Never trust an enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness." And this is exactly what your so-called congressmen and your senators, both Democrats and Republicans, this is what they voted for back then, and it was signed, by the President Clinton back then. You have the so-called Free Trade Act, and then you also had other legislation, the so-called Glass-Steagall Act. They had to get it out of the way, and that's how they had a so-called financial crisis way back in 2008, and even before that. So that's how the game is being played. Okay, that's the game they've been playing. All right, so let me play this video real quick.
We talk about this being the land of opportunity. And if you're poor, this is not the land of opportunity. The thought process was you work hard, you play by the rules, your children will reap those rewards. And that's really what the American dream is. For the first time in our country, what we're experiencing is that's not the case.
Yes, ever since, World War II, when the middle class had to, was expanded once they got access to, government guarantees, the GI Bill and all that stuff, the so-called baby boom generation, they at least realized that, what, they got to put a tape on that stuff, and that's the reason why they had to sign this deal with China. So it tells you in 2001, Moab joined the World Trade Organization. So a lot of folks were being, optimistic that it's going to improve trade and all that, but they don't really know that it was basically a Trojan horse, to throw America under the bus. And the more you look into it, the more you understand that the elites are the ones behind this agenda, all right? Because nothing happens in a vacuum. All these politicians, they don't come up with their own original idea. All they do is what they are told to do, all right? That's how it works. So it doesn't matter if they're carrying, billions of dollars in their bank accounts, or they call themselves majority leaders or Speaker of the House. They're all doing the biddings of the elite. And, the big bankers, man, the Federal Reserve owners, they're basically the one that calls the shots. That's Amalek for you, so-called Jewish folks. And, Israel, our people, the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos and Native Americans, we've always had, you know, objections to dealing with Amalek, and it's just so much, man. I mean, there's so many historical records out there that we can look into, and then you see how we had to deal with Amalek, and it's beautiful. When you read Sirach 12 and 10 again, it says, never trust an enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. All right, so he's gonna do whatever he's gonna do if he gets the opportunity, and he got the opportunity when the Lord Yahushua had to let him out of, the depths of Europe. Ever since the 14th century, they've been going on a rampage. Then you had World War One, you had World War Two, you had the Revolutionary Wars, and then you also had, what you call it, Lincoln and his troops, the North basically against the South, to quell the secession of the Southern states. So that's exactly what the elite have always wanted to do, to maintain power and to extend their reach. Just like how they had to get into Japan. There's so much stuff, man. Then verse 11 says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away. And that's how the elites are, man. They pretend that they're sorry and they're upset, and they hire some PR firm to try to manage their image, and they pay off these so-called non-profit agencies to create a program so they could make the people feel as if the people are being taken care of, but that's just for show. All right.
Opening the economy of China will create unprecedented opportunities for American farmers, workers, and companies.
That's Blowjob Bill. Blowjob Bill. It says open up more opportunities for American farmers, workers, and companies. So 20 years later, what's going on? So it just shows you, the extent these so-called politicians will go to, to deceive the people, because they understand the agenda at hand. The same person talking about more productivity for the economy, the same person talking about, folks need to get the vaccine. They need to show to the people that they're going to get the vaccine too. So it's hilarious. So the book of Psalms chapter 37 verse 7 says, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. All right, that's all we have, the Lord. All right, there's no one else in this world that can comfort us and assure us of our safety. Only the Lord can. And then it says, fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way. And that this elite, you see all the evil legislation they are passing, to oppress the people, not just our people, but the whole world. All right. And then it says, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Yeah. So what else can be said? Then they tell you, wow, this company is going overseas because what? They say labor is cheap and they're tired of all these taxes. So who put the taxes in place? It's the elites. So they create an environment so they could give an excuse for going overseas. And that's how they do it, And whoever remains, it's either, they get what you call a pass, to have certain provisions so they could make more money and keep control of this side while they also have other companies operate overseas. All right.
We led the nation per capita in terms of the number of U.S. patents issued. There was really a spirit of innovation and creativity here. For much of the 20th century, Dayton, Ohio was the place to be if you were looking for a job and looking for a way to get ahead.
And you see that it's not just Edomites working. They also had Jakes too. You even had Jakes in Northern Kingdom working too. All right. You had the tribes working there too. So it just shows you how the elite operate. They just don't want people, to have a say in how the government is being run. That's why they have to collapse the economy and send manufacturing plants overseas. All right. And then they sell whatever they can for pennies on the dollars. And then you have the so-called Mitt Romneys and the Trumps and the Bushes and the Clintons, trying to console the people that they can make America great. But it's never going to be that way. So Isaiah chapter 32 verse 7 says, the instruments of the troll, all right, the instruments of the troll are evil. He devised wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words. And that's this legislation, man. All this government, what I call memorandum of understanding, all these trade deals that is signed with all these foreign countries. That's exactly what it is. Nothing but lying words to oppress the people. Okay. He devised wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak it right. So now folks are complaining that all these big corporations that own Facebook, Twitter, and all these web hosting services, they're shutting down people that don't go along with the narrative of the elites. They're shutting down people's accounts, and that's what it is, man. Google doing the same thing too. So what do you expect? The elites have to maintain power. So they're going to go to an extent to do that. And that's how, they sign all these trade deals, to have the jobs go overseas and, basically capital, shift the people's way of earning a living to a different location. And then you just laugh, man. But at the end of the day, the Lord says, whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap.
My dad worked for General Motors, and my mom was like a real estate agent. They really brought home the idea that if you worked hard, that you'd be able to do well in this country. This kind of fell apart in around the early 2000s. This contract broke with the loss of manufacturing jobs that were slowly trickling in Dayton. Children of families aren't doing better than their parents, and I think that's the broken dream that's happening right now.
Yep, and that's the so-called American dream. So you're not going to see all this stuff on Bloomberg News, man. You're nuts. They're going to paint you some freaking reality that doesn't exist, And that's how you understand that these so-called news reporters and news anchors, whatever they want to call themselves, and analysts, they're not there for the people. They're just a bunch of puppets. They're just there to give an illusion that things are on the up and things are going to get better. So the book of Isaiah chapter 28 verse 17 says, judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. Yes, all those lies that they like to push, it's not going to have any effect anymore, because the Lord's going to crush it with the truth, and all these so-called pastors that have taken money and all these, guarantees and what you say, seed money for the government and all these provisions, they're going to get jacked up too, because the Lord is angry with these false prophets, and the Lord is about to bring judgment upon them, so they're going to become desolate. Yeah, so what's going to be left of Babylon? Service jobs, your so-called hotel jobs, your so-called gas pump job, your so-called delivery, food delivery job, pizza delivery, stocking shelves, what else? You name it, man. You name it. Yeah. So that's the that's the phases that they're about to go through. Even now, they're even planning on having all these robots controlled by AI deliver food. And now there's not going to be any teller in the banks anymore because they want everything to go digital. Yep. So that's the plan. Control, 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 control. So it says Dayton is now part of the Rust Belt of American cities, suffering from industrial decline. Yeah, so that's all, what the elites want America to be, and then you have folks complaining about the election, this election, that, not forgetting, not remembering what what's really going on. They gotten so bamboozled and sucked into this political madness. All right. So let's get another precept. Book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 4. It says, "The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable." Yep. So that's it. So these elites are going to be kicked out, man. They're going to be phased out by the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. And I understand that, the elect of the nation of Israel, or the men of the Lord, are going to have to manage the earth in a proper manner, because these Edomite elites, they failed, and it's their time to go. Just like, the book of Sirach 12 and 10 tells you, never trust an enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So all the rust that you see in all these manufacturing plants that have been abandoned, that's just a testament of Esau's wickedness. All right, so that's the point that I came. You can always do more research and see what Esau's up to and what he's done. All right, Shalom.